Early American History, Unit 4.1, page 164 to 167. Chapter 35, Roger Williams. The Puritans who were victims of intolerance in England were not tolerant themselves. Although they preached the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them done unto you, most never understood that they were breaking that rule. Roger Williams did. Williams was a Puritan minister who came to Massachusetts seeking a pure religious community. Like other Puritans, he was a serious Christian. Like the others, he disapproved of Catholic and Quaker ideas. Like the others, he thought the Indian religions were pagan. But that's where like the others stops. He didn't believe in forcing anyone to believe as he did. He believed that killing or punishing in the name of Christianity was sinful. He thought that church members, not general taxes, should pay the bills at each church. He respected the beliefs of others. Those were strange ideas in 17th century Massachusetts. The Puritans didn't know what to do with Roger Williams. He was a Puritan, he was brilliant, he was a minister, and he was so nice that even his opponents had a hard time disliking him. But what an ungrateful young man he seemed. The Puritans had offered him good jobs as a teacher and minister, and he thanked them by criticizing their practices. Governor Winthrop was shocked. So was John Cotton, the minister who took a job that Williams refused. They were especially shocked when Williams wrote a book saying it was wrong to persecute people for their beliefs. Williams called his book The Bloody Tenet. The blood was from those killed because of their religious ideas. John Cotton wrote his own book. He called it The Bloody Tenet Washed and Made White. Of course, that didn't end it. Williams' next book was The Bloody Tenet Made Yet More Bloody by Mr. Cotton's Endeavor to Wash It White in the Blood of the Lamb. When Roger Williams started preaching that land shouldn't be taken from the Indians, that the king had no right to charter land that didn't belong to him, that was too much. The officers of the Massachusetts Bay Colony made arrangements to ship Williams back to England. They sent armed men to put him on a boat. Roger Williams' wife heard the verdict of the court, that he was to be arrested and banished, and began to cry. Williams told her 50 good men did what they thought was just. Roger Williams didn't hold grudges. But he wasn't about to let himself get shipped back to England, and so he fled from Massachusetts. It was January 1636. He was sick, and the weather was freezing. Later, when he was an old man, Roger Williams would still remember that terrible winter. He was always thankful to the Narragansett Indians who helped him survive the cold. He learned to love them as they loved him. Top of page 166. Map of Rhode Island. He bought land from the Indians and started a colony called Providence. It became the capital of Rhode Island and soon attracted many of those who were not wanted elsewhere. Someone described Providence as the place where all the cranks of New England go. There were plenty of cranks in Providence, but there were also many who were searching for what Williams called freedom of conscience. When Roger Williams said freedom of conscience, he meant the freedom of each person to follow his own mind and heart and choose his own religion. That was to become an important right in America. Roger Williams welcomed everyone who wished to come to Rhode Island, including Quakers and Catholics. And while he continued to disagree with those religions, he never let that stop him from liking some of the people who practiced them. Jews, who were often persecuted elsewhere, were welcome in Rhode Island. Atheists were welcome too. Williams believed that state government should not have any connection with the church. We call that separation of church and state. It was a very new idea at the time. Top of page 167. He knew that people could be forced to go to church, but that no one's mind could be forced to believe. Forced worship stinks in God's nostrils, said Roger Williams. He learned the language of the Narragansett Indians and wrote a book so that others could learn it too. When the great Narragansett chief, Conocus, was dying, he called for Roger Williams to be with him. White men had destroyed the Indian chief's kingdom, and he hated most of them. But Williams and Conocus had something in common. Each was able to judge people by their character, not by their skin color or religion. They loved and respected each other. Edmund S. Morgan, a historian who wrote a book about Roger Williams, said, "May we praise him for his defense of religious liberty and the separation of church and state. His greatness was simpler. He dared to think." I'm not going to read the church and state at the bottom there. You can read that if you want to.